What's up, everybody? Trinity here, and welcome back to the Second Street Marvel for New Comic Book Day. For the New Comic Book Day stream today, we're going to be talking about comic books. I know I normally do the morning movie chat here on here during the week, Monday through Friday, but kind of switching things up. I've done this a few times here on Wednesdays. It's a good chance to get together with you all and talk about some comics. And in case you didn't see me do the hip flap there, the hat flip there, that's like what that is. It's like a switch, and when I turn it around, it's like it. Never mind. Do you guys know what movie that's from? It's kind of a I'm very much paraphrasing a reference there from a movie. It's a Sylvester Stallone movie, in case you don't know what that is. But thank you all again so much for being here to watch me flap my gums for about an hour about stuff that maybe I don't really know that much about. But hey, you know what? You be the judge and you decide whether I know what I'm talking about. And I do appreciate all of your guys' feedback in the comments below. If you have anything to say, let me know. Today we're going to talk about comic books. Like I said, it's New Comic Book Wednesday. I'm going to talk about a few books that I have here, and we're going to get in and talk about some of the different comic books that are have come out, and some of my favorite independent books, and even my favorite independent publisher today, Star Wars Santa. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're doing well today. So yeah, now before I really get into a whole lot of other things. I first want to give a shout out to all of my Patreon supporters who they actually support the channel here on Patreon. There are links down in the description where you can go and support the channel, become a monthly Patreon supporter, or you can even send in direct donations via Streamlabs. Again, nothing required. Hey, I'm just here flapping my gums, but I do appreciate everybody who decides to donate money to the channel. It really does help out. Put a lot of work into the channel, and sometimes my wife, I'm sure, is probably sitting there going, "Hey, man, what are you doing here on this computer all the time talking into it?" So anyway, yeah, thank you. Thanks again to all of the Patreon supporters that have chosen to support the channel with their hard-earned dollars. I do greatly appreciate that. Now, the first thing I want to talk about right here off the top is this right here. This is the plot issue number 4. Okay, guys, this is a very great series, and I believe this is the last in this, the last book in this first arc of the plot. And I think basically volume 2, if you will, is going to be starting here in the next couple of months. Now, this book is being published by Vault Comics. The writer is Tim Daniel, Michael Morecki, or is it Morisi? I'm not really for sure. I know Robbie over at Pop Culture Philosophers says that it's Morisi, so I'll take his word for it. I'm going to go with Morisi. It's drawn by Joshua Hickson, colored by Jordan Boyd, and lettered by the very hardworking Jim Campbell. And I'll go ahead and show you some of those names right there, and even some of the art. Again, this is one of my favorite books out there on the market today. Alex Dobbs, thank you so much for being here. I hope you're doing well, my brother. So yeah, this book, the plot, it's been a very great read. It's a horror title, and the art in the book is absolutely phenomenal. In getting and kind of getting you into that horror world that's going on here. Like here, let me show you some of the different things going on here. Like, this is just like great stuff right here. Look at that art. Just really good stuff. It just the art and the coloring and just everything about this about what's going on here in the story really helps set this really dark and eerie tone. Just really great stuff here. I'll go ahead and give you a little bit more of the art right there. This is absolutely great stuff. This quickly, on the first issue of this series, it really took over as just one of my favorite comics. I look forward to reading this one every single time that it comes out. And what it is, it's a horror tale about this family. These kids, their parents were brutally murdered, and their parents, like the father was a CEO of this big pharmaceutical company, and they had he was somewhat, what we get the feeling that he was somewhat of an introvert. They're there having a big meeting. I think it was in San Francisco. They were having a big like shareholders meeting and everything, getting ready to launch some new drugs out there to help people with mental problems and just issues and things like that. And he kind of wasn't very comfortable there having just at the party, and him and his wife end up leaving. And so they end up going home to their to their house. So they had, it looked like they had a pretty nice house, with probably some oceanfront property there in San Francisco. And they end up just like getting brutally murdered there while they were there, just there after the party, as they were enjoying some champagne together and getting ready to settle down for a nice night together. And it was very, very good. I mean, it pulled me right in. So then what happened after that was their kids ended up having to go live with his brother, whose name is Chase. And this is all about the Blaine family tree, if you will. And so they end up going back to, I believe it's Cape Augusta, Maine, to live with their uncle. And their uncle Chase is somebody who's we through the course of the story we see he's not really so welcome there in town with by the local authorities. He's kind of not got a really great reputation, and we learn throughout the course of the story. Really, the whole family don't. They've got this whole philosophy, this family philosophy that we kind of learn throughout the books, is in order to receive first, you must give. And that's like a theme that kind of really goes throughout this whole series of just absolutely just great stuff here going on. And we see that these kids that go to live with their uncle Chase, they don't really know who their uncle is. They don't really know who it is because they've really never met him, as the two brothers never got together and talked much. A whole lot of different things going on with this family. And throughout the youngest boy, well, I guess there's only two of them. There's a girl who's appears to be a teenager, and then there's a young boy, and his name is Zach. And he has communication problems. There's no real indication that he has anything wrong with him, other than the fact that he just doesn't really communicate much. He's pretty silent most of the time, and he just keeps kind of running into some of these situations. And I don't know, just a lot of really great things going on here as they're trying to get to know their uncle a little bit. He ends up having the young one, Zach, ends up having some problems in school. Some really freaky things happen. His uncle Chase ends up having to come get him from school. And just really good stuff. And then the daughter, who's, oh man, her name is escaping me right now. She's a teenager. She's very clever. You can see that she's really suspect of her uncle Chase, and exactly where he's been, what he's been up to, and why they've never really heard of him. So just some really, really great stuff. Really good character building and really well written characters throughout this whole story. Something I really, really do enjoy reading in this book. And we're kind of getting a little more to learn a little bit more about Chase Blaine, as well as, like I said, he's not really liked by the local authorities here. We got the Sheriff Magnus, who seems to have a really big problem with him, who at one point tells him that he wants Chase to get out of town. He don't want him. He don't want him there. He don't want him around. And says, you know what? Whatever you do, just get out of town. We don't want you here. I don't want you here. Do what it takes to get out of here. Get gone. Your house, burn it down. Get rid of it. We don't want it. You guys aren't good for the community. So just some really, really great stuff going on in this book as far as that. And the Sheriff Magnus, we learn just through especially through the course of this fourth issue, some of his personal bias comes from with the Blaine family, as he is there talking with Reese, who is a friend of the family, and she is somebody who looks like she had wanted to have a relationship with Chase Blaine on just through since they were kids. And that's kind of where this story, issue number 4, opens up at, is when they were kids, probably teenagers. Looks like they're sitting around like a bonfire, having some drinks and things like that, stuff that teenagers do, bonding, I guess, if you will. And just kind of how, like, Chase was like her first crush, her first kiss, and things like that. And then she walks into the woods, and basically asks him to follow, and they're probably gonna go and kiss and just kind of hang out and just have some personal time together. And then some really crazy things end up happening. It's really great. Like I said, the characters throughout this whole story are really well done and really well written. Just a great book. I think you guys should go out and check it out. Again, that is The Plot, being published on Vault Comics. Really great series, and soon the trade paperback will be coming out. If you didn't get a chance to check out all of the issues, you don't want to. If you're one of those people who can has patience and can wait, the trade paperback should be coming out. I'm guessing here in the next month or so. But again, published by Vault Comic Books, one of my favorite publishers out there, putting out books today. One I think you guys should definitely make sure you check out. So let's see. The next thing, let me see. The next thing that we're going to get into is some of the comic books that I'm reading right now. And what are some of the comic books? Let me know down in the comments below. What are some of the comic books that you're currently reading? And if you're not reading comic books, I mean, what are the comic books that have been on my pull list and things like that? Would you like to read, or would you like me to talk more about? But let me know down in the comments below, and we'll get here and say what's up to everybody else. B Level Star Wars, thank you so much. He says. He's B Level Star Wars says, "Hey Second Street, how do you feel indie comics compares to independent music in terms of support, infrastructure, and culture?" As far as he says, "I feel a lot of people complain about mainstream stuff, but don't check out the indie stuff in geek culture." Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right. I'll tell you that's one of the things I've kind of been talking a little bit more about here. I've been somewhat focusing a little bit more on indie comic books. I do really like the indie comic books that I've been reading. For one, the one thing I definitely like about the indie comic books industry is the fact that you have writers who aren't just jumping into a publisher, jumping onto books that are with a bunch of established characters. So for me, what that means is an independent creator has to work harder to start a new story, to write these characters, to write a good, interesting story to get you, the reader, into wanting to invest into their stories, into their books, even into their publishers. And that's one thing, like I'm saying here about Vault Comics. They're a small press publisher that has only been around since 2016. And I think in the current landscape of comic books, they are proving that it's still possible to go out there and publish good books and find success within the comic book industry. Because right now we see with so many things where like the big two being Marvel and even DC Comics they've kind of just a lot of the storytelling that's going on there. We got a lot of these old established characters. You got your Supermans, you got your Batmans, you got your Spider-Man, you got your Avengers and things like that. Who you get writers on these books, and a lot of what it is we see we're really the fault comes in here is, or I guess the downside comes in, is a lot of people take over these these characters, these old established characters, and they start pushing a narrative in it. They're starting to talk about their own personal politics and things like that, as opposed to just telling good stories, building up good stories with these characters and things like that. Now, the thing I will say about and I've talked about this a lot with the politics and comic books, is the politics have always been there. Okay, it's just how well are they written? They should be thought provoking. They should make you think about things. It shouldn't be just lazily written stories that are so on the nose that it's ridiculous. I know recently I even heard like Young Rippa 59 talking about a book I haven't read, but Lois Lane. Which is a new, I think it's going to be I think it's a short, maybe mini series out there, where they went and Lois Lane was actually there in an interview talking to Sarah Saunders, literally, like the comic book, and the comic book, what she was talking about had to do with the current state of stuff that's going on in politics. The character looked exactly like Sarah Saunders with glasses on. You know what I mean? And to me, it's just lazy. Like it's fine if you want to talk about those things, but do them so not on the nose, so not. And I say not reflective of what's going on in our society, but not done in such a lazy way. One of the other things that I've criticized is like Nick Spencer. I like Nick Spencer as a writer. His writing is really good. But if you go back and read Sam Wilson, Captain America, a lot of the same thing was happened. And when I read it, and I read every single issue of Sam Wilson, Captain America, is like as I was reading it, I'm sitting there really just reading everything that I could have watched on CNN and Fox News and all those things back in 2016 when all this stuff was coming out. Like literally, like it was like they just ripped right off the headlines of the news and really just took the news and put it into a comic book. To me, it just shows there's a lack of creativity there. Um, and then, I mean, the art was still there. I mean, the artist still had to go there and draw all that and put in the work. But a lot of the story really revolved around exactly just what we were getting out of the news. And to me, I don't like that. I don't like that just because it's lazy. I mean, I can just go watch the news instead of having to spend $4 on a comic book to read that in a comic book. Like I said, I don't have any problems with the politics on there. People having their own personal politics. You want to talk about those things and discuss those things. Do it in a way that's not so lazy to where you're just coming out and just outright saying it. You know what I mean? It's an art form. This is an art form. This is comic books. It's an art form. The same thing as music. It's an art form. And with music, I'm willing to give a little bit more because again, these are all expressive mediums. But in music, you're not just. Chances are, most people aren't just shouting out about exactly what's happening in the news. They're more than anything, they're actually sharing their feelings on it and things like that. And a lot of times being a little more thought provoking. When it comes to things like that. I mean, you can go back and look at any form of music throughout history where the musicians are a little bit more they're a lot better about expressing their feelings in that sense. So I think that's how I look at some of those things. Aggressively relaxing says this new Hulk Champions doesn't have a teleporter, so now I am making a meme of the new character Pinpoint asking, am I a joke to you? That's great. Um, Aggressively says, I feel like a lot of people complain about mainstream stuff and don't read mainstream stuff. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's the thing is, there are a lot of people out there who go out there and just wanna they wanna be mad just to be mad. They wanna get clicks on their videos without actually putting in the work. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna complain about a certain narrative or certain anything like that being told in a comic book, at least read the damn comic book. At least let me know what your thoughts are on the comic book. Not just like, oh hey, I watched so and so's video on YouTube, or I read this article over here by CBR. Which I don't think they read comic books over there at CBR anymore. I think they read those little summaries that come out in the previews and they run with that. Um, I think you're absolutely right. A lot of people complain about the mainstream stuff and don't actually read the mainstream stuff, and that's why some of those people that do actually read it, I'm more than open to hearing their comments and things on it. Like some of the guys out there that are very controversial when it comes to the big two and criticizing mainstream comics is going to be Young Rip of 5'9". One of my favorite content creators, and I know he reads the comic books that he's out there talking about. A lot of the times he'll show you the copy that he has in his hand, and talking about him. He talks a lot about Captain Marvel and not liking it. But he also got the issues. You know what I mean? He actually shows you the issues, and you know that he's reading it. Same as with your boy Zach. I know he's another one out there that a lot of people don't really like. Don't really like what he says in his books. He criticizes a lot of books and slams them. Some of his videos, he actually rips the comic books in half and things like that. The thing is that's more than his. It's more than his right to do. But he actually owns the comic book. He went and read the comic book. He himself is a creator. So I get a lot of people won't like his stuff. That's fine. Hey, you don't have to like what I like. That's certainly I think a big important thing out there is that's the beautiful thing about comic books, about movies, and about music, and just even art in general. All these artistic mediums, which are mediums for expression, is that what you like isn't necessarily what I like. And something else I've talked about largely is just because we both like something doesn't mean that we like it for the same reasons, right? Um, I think we may have different things that we like about it, and we may have different things that we hate about it. The one thing that we have in common is that we like it. So I think but I think you're definitely right there. Is there are a lot of people out there who complain about that kind of stuff, and yeah, I mean, if you're gonna complain about something, at least read it. If you're gonna complain about a movie, at least watch it. You know what I mean? A lot of people out there, complaining about the Rise of Skywalker. It's a new movie. Oh, it's Star Wars. It sucks. A lot of people complaining about the Rise of Skywalker haven't even seen the movie. But their defense is like, oh well, I heard the leaks and I watched some reviews. All right, you have no say so here. Just because you think it sucks doesn't mean it sucks. Go out and watch it, then give me your criticism, okay? Then I can accept it. Other than that, you have no clue what the hell you're talking about. You're just going based off of other people's opinions who you may trust their opinion and they might be right and maybe you agree with them 100%, which is fine. But don't come out here and give me all this crap about, criticizing stuff and you haven't even seen it, you haven't read it, you haven't heard it, don't want to hear it. Take a hike. Um, B level Star Wars says, just curious, was something up with the pharma dad? I mean, people that run big pharma are psychopaths. When you look into business practices, that's legit horror. Oh yeah, believe me. Believe me, B level Star Wars, I'm with you there when it comes to pharmaceuticals and all that stuff. I'm not, yeah, like me. I'm more into. I'm not even into like holistic things like that. It's not about that because I mean, pharmaceuticals. We're not here to get political or anything on that kind of stuff. But pharmaceuticals do have their place in this world. I mean, they do. But a lot of people abuse them. A lot of doctors out there in the world do just they're literal drug dealers. They're writing prescriptions out there for people to get hooked onto prescription pills. It is a very bad thing in our society. You can go through and one of the things I've talked about a lot here. A lot of people have different views on drug use and things like that. And my thing is some of the worst things in the world. People out there talk about like like these illegal drugs, like like the hard drugs, like those drugs that are illegal because they compete with pharmaceuticals. Just some of those hard illicit drugs. You know what? I'm honest, and I'm not telling anybody to do drugs, but I'm less against those than I am against pharmaceuticals because pharmaceuticals have that thing where doctors are prescribing them, and people just take it at what it is, and it's like oh okay, this is good for me, and people get addicted to these pills and things like that, and it's a blight on our society. It's very bad. It should very much be something that is regulated and looked at, and plus these doctors actually get kickbacks from these pharmaceutical companies, so they're no better than actual drug dealers out on the street peddling bad drugs. So that's just how I feel about that. But again, I'm not saying go out and do drugs or anything like that. I'm just saying that to me, the pharmaceutical company is just as bad and a bigger problem. Go look at the whole rock scene, musicians and stuff like that. I can guarantee you the one thing that you're going to find, aside from plane crashes and just tragic accidents like that, is the fact that most of them end up dying from two things: alcohol, prescription pills, and definitely the combination of the two. So, enough about that. Enough about that, though. I'm True Skills. Thank you so much for being here. Max Santiago, how are you doing this morning? I'm True Skills says, Trinity, are you going to set up your super chat? As soon as I get approved for monetization and things like that, I will be accepting super chats. I will do that. But you can always follow the links down in the description where you can go and donate via Streamlabs or become a monthly Patreon supporter. But I will be doing super chats. The one thing I probably won't do a whole lot of is putting ads in videos. That's why I started my Patreon. So I started that a long time ago. So I could slowly build up supporters there and support for the channel there. Because for one, they take less of a cut. But also, I figure, my Patreon supporters, if I can build that up, I don't have to put ads on videos. I hate watching ads. I don't want you to have to watch ads when I'm just flapping my gums about comic books and movies. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to watch ads. Let's face it. So that's why I have my Patreon set up, and even the direct donations through Streamlabs. But also, yeah, I will be setting up super chats whenever that goes, whenever I get approved with the monetization. But for me, what I'm looking more forward to with getting approved for monetization is the one I'm waiting for. YouTube, where you at, bros? Where's my community tab? I want my community tab, and I want my stories. I want to be able to do little Snapchats, on on YouTube. I want to be able to post on my community board. You know what I mean? That's what I want. That's what I want. It's more about that than it is about the super chats and stuff. Um, let's see. Aggressively relaxing says so much of Marvel is battling big concepts like drug companies. The X-Men specifically. Captain America is about justice system. Hulk is smashing corporations. Black Panther is about reparations. Uh, yeah, I'll agree with that. Now, the thing about that is for me is from what I've been seeing in some of this stuff is the writing is sloppy. It's just not that great. In the fact that I have no problem with them talking about these things because like Jonathan Hickman is doing a great job. Is doing a great job in the X titles in talking about some of those things where I seen some of the stuff. I believe it was from and I haven't read it, so I don't actually know, but I seen just some screenshots and stuff of some of the stuff coming out from Immortal Hulk, where there's just some of the language and some of the dialogue in there. It's like, what? Are you serious? Like, come on. Can you give me some better writing here? It's so on the nose. It's just absolutely lazy. And tell your story in a different way. You don't have to come right. You don't have to come right out and say things and beat me over the head with it. Stan Lee style. You don't have to do that. Just give me a good story that implies all the things that you're trying to say. I finally did get caught up with Captain America. Captain America has been a very good series. For me, it lacks in action. I want more action, but I do like the kind of journey that he's going on and talking about some of the things that they're talking about in that book. But I think the writing could be better in that series. And as far as the reparations things, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we're past those times. I do get that some of those things still happen. People are still looked down upon for the color of their skin and stuff like that. But like reparations, I mean, what can we do? Like that wasn't me that done anything. That wasn't you that did anything. That wasn't my grandfather didn't own slaves or anything like that. So when people are talking about stuff like that, just some of these ridiculous things going on about it, it's absolutely ridiculous. But when it comes down to it in society, are we equal? Yeah, we're all human beings. We all bleed red. I mean, absolutely. And I think there's still a lot of people who hold on to a lot of prejudices in their lives, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous. You know what I mean? I don't hold anything against anybody for who they are. You know what I mean? What I do have a problem with is when people do that. You know what I mean? Trying to say like, oh, like white man bad, men bad, just things like that, all that kind of stuff, and that goes both ways. It goes both ways. It really does, because right now in the this culture war that we're having, you see like the SJWs, and then you see all the people all the anti SJWs. Like you guys are both two sides of the same coin. It's ridiculous to me. Just can can we move along here? Can we move along? You're bringing us backwards. You're bringing us backwards. We like most of us out in the real world, we actually get along and we're actually friends. All this crap I see online and stuff like that, I don't see that when I'm out in my local community doing what I do, working. People don't talk like that. People don't act like that. People get along really good. It's crazy what happens when you actually see somebody in person and not through the lens of a camera on a screen on your phone or on your computer. Very amazing. Max Santiago, thank you for being here. Says X-Men, New Mutants, Thor, Ragnarok, Vampirella Red Sonja, Doctor Doom, Sean Gordon, Murphy Batman, Cyberfrog, Downcast, Graveyard Shift, and other CG stuff. I'm going to check out Vault stuff. Yeah, you should. Vault Comics is really good. Now they go through and what I would say, Max Santiago, is go to Vault Comics website. I believe there's an article on there somewhere where you can go, and they have a lot of their first issues where you can download for free to read them. They let you read the first issue for free, and you can decide there if you want to get a trade paperback or you want to go to your local comic book shop and pick up individual issues. So that's one thing I definitely like about what they're doing over there at Vault Comics. And plus, they have this thing too. I think they have some of them where you can buy them digital in like little bundles and different ones and stuff like that. So yeah, very cool stuff. And Vault Comics is definitely one of my favorites. Max Santiago says Spencer's Morning Glories is really good. Never heard of that one. Right. Here we go. Max Santiago says, a good writer can think and postulate on opposite sides of an argument like lawyers do. Yeah. Well, I don't know about like lawyers do, but I know what you're saying there. But yeah, certainly. That's the thing, is a good writer can make it thought provoking without directly pushing an exact narrative in the story. They can get their point across with good writing without just outright saying, you know, orange man bad, men bad, stuff like that. You know, certainly I completely agree with you. Chaos in Comics says, I don't see it as lazy. I'd have to hear more examples of what you considered on the nose. You know, like, well, perfect example, Chaos in Comics. I'm not sure if you read Excalibur yet this week, but there's some dialogue in there by Rogue where I'm sitting there like, and it's not lazy. It's just like, really, like, you could find an easier way to say that, like she says, men have all my life told me no, and this and that, and men bad. And I'm just like, you can just say, people in my whole life have told me not to do this, not to say this, to stand down. It doesn't have to be just men. You know, it's stuff like that. And with the other stuff, like the lazy stuff, is like most of the stuff that happened in like I said earlier, Sam Wilson, Captain America, like all of that stuff was like, it was literally ripped right off the screen of CNN and Fox News from back in 2016 during the election cycle, maybe 2015, and put into a comic book. To me, that's just lazy. Like, you know, like, you're not even writing anything. You're just taking headlines, putting it right into a comic book. Um, and most of that stuff that I see is, you know, in the big two, as out of coming out of Marvel and DC. But that's what I say is like, and that's what I consider so on the nose. It's like obvious. It's like obvious what you're doing here. You're just taking stuff right off the headlines, and putting it in a comic book. Um, you know, write a story. You know, write a good story. Perry Comics, thank you so much for being here. Let's see. Uh, Perry Comics says the clock sucked. By the way, what the clock? What I missed? I must have missed something about a clock. um, I'm True Skills says, what's up, Chad? I hope everyone is having a good day. Well, I hope you're having a very good day as well. It's New Comic Book Wednesday, so how can we not be having a good day, right? Right? Come on, it's New Comic Book Wednesday. It's time to talk about comic books. And you know, I think what I'm gonna do is on maybe on Sunday, maybe Sunday afternoon sometime. There's so many people live streaming on Sunday. Maybe we'll do it in the morning, but I gotta see what time works. But I want to start doing a live stream with some of you comic book content creators. We're gonna come together and talk about some comic books. I definitely want to get Chaos and Comics. I want to get together. I actually meant to message you this morning about maybe doing something on Sunday, maybe even this Saturday, doing a live stream talking maybe about some X-Men, and maybe about something else. You know, I know we both read the No Ones, which I thought was a pretty good series. Maybe we could talk about that as well. But I want to get a few people on here to talk about, you know, maybe some of these Dawn of X titles and just some different things. Maybe make it a couple hours long, you know, so we can talk about a number of topics. You know, maybe keep like each topic, you know, we'll talk about to like 45 minutes or so, and go, you know, something like that, or 30 minutes, or, you know, an hour. You know, the first hour we'll talk about this, the second hour we'll talk about that, stuff like that. So yeah, guys, definitely get a hold of me. I want to get together with some of you guys, and I want to nail down a time that would be good for all of us to do that. And plus, there's so many other people out there doing comic book streams. Like I know John's Comics with Kids. I think his is mostly on Saturdays when he does his. But then, you know, I know. Rod the Rican, he does his comic book stream. I think is it the shout out show that he does on Sundays. So I don't want to interrupt his show either, because I like going to watch his show on Sundays. Um, so let's see. Where else are we at here? Um, okay. Chaos and Comics says, I am, because you said having a good day. I am. Go do drugs, kids. No, don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. Especially kids, don't do drugs. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I'm more against the pharmaceutical companies, because people think just because something is legal means that it's okay to do. You know, like alcohol. You know what I mean? Like, oh, hey, drinking is legal. It's okay to do. No, drinking is bad for you. Well, if you're doing a lot of it, you know, if you're drinking a lot every single day, stuff like that, you're an alcoholic. that's not good for you. You do like Edwin the comic jabroni. On his show he reviews bourbons and stuff like that. Having the occasional drink, that's not bad for you. Stuff like that. That's not bad for you. It's the abuse of it. Anything can be abused, and it's really the abusive stuff that's bad for you. Max Santiago says, I am Two Skills, working and enjoying this live stream. How are you? Perry Comics says, oh yeah, remember that guy who died of smoking a joint? Oh wait, yeah, I think he just fell asleep. He may have burned his house down, and that's how he died. But maybe he fell asleep with the doobie in his hand, and oh, you guys are cracking me up. Chaos and Comics says, uh, at least you're wearing a cool shirt. Oh yeah, Faith No More, man. I got this when I seen him live. Not too long ago down at the Palladium in LA. It was a great show. Great show. I'm Two Skills. I'm good. Going to see what new comics came out today. There's a lot of good ones that came out today, man. They really hit me in the pocketbook today. I think I picked up I want to say 15 or 16 issues. Perry Comics says, nah, Second Street, watch my ads. I'm going to the comic store on Thursday. Awesome. Castle Comics says, at work too, waiting for a spreadsheet to calculate so I can watch for a minute. F this stuff. Oh yeah, man, that sucks, man. Work is a 4-letter word, man. I own my own business, so I'm lucky. Kind of somewhat free to time and stuff like that. U.S. Dutch Kitty, thank you so much for being here. Jack JW Productions, thank you so much for being here. I recently subscribed to you as well. I need to go check out some of your videos. Aggressively Relaxing says, people are so invested in being mad at things they won't admit a story came together. Mandalorian and Star Trek Disco are both two examples where mid-season complaints have stuck that make no sense. Yeah, I hear you. U.S. Dutch Kitty. James Clark Artist, thank you so much for being here. U.S. Dutch Kitty says, hey, at Max Santiago at the doctor's office, so need good entertainment while I wait. Well, thank you for being here, U.S. Dutch Kitty. I hope you're doing well, and hopefully things are going well for you. Hopefully things are on the up and up. Chaos and Comics says, Trinity, are you being a little on the nose now? Yes, definitely. Very much so. Max says, awesome sauce. Trinity brings the conversation. I'm True Skill says, did Doom 2099 came out today? No, Doom 2099 came out. Doom 2099 came out in December. I want to say mid-December. That was really the only good book out of the 2099 books. But the sad thing about that book is it doesn't lead anywhere. It doesn't lead anything. That whole 2099 story arc. I don't know anybody that liked it. If there's somebody out there that liked it, please let me know. I thought the whole it was pointless. It went nowhere. I got done with the 2099 series. I'm like, okay. To me, that was one of the things with that series, and I've seen this with several Marvel events, and that's why I'm not getting into Marvel events anymore. Is because it's for one, the main event goes on, and even all the tie-ins, for the most part, it's we wrote a book, we drew a book, we printed a book, and we sold a book. There's no other real point to this book, just a bunch. And I can't even say cash grab because that's the point of comic books. You're making comic books to make money, but these are there's really no point to them. The 2099 series, absolute just no point to it. I can say Annihilation Scourge. I would say it's a lot the same, but there was a point in that story. There was a beginning, there was an ending, some stuff happened in the middle. I mean, and it was there was some interesting things going on throughout that little series. Pert Minded, LB, thank you so much for being here. The Lonely Banter. Pert Minded says Netflix just dropped a trailer for Lock and Key, a series based off a Joe Hill comic, and I know nothing about the source material, but the trailer definitely got me. Yeah, I heard they were making a series about that, and I've heard of the comic book. I've never actually read it myself though, but I certainly have heard of that comic book. Pope, and maybe I'll have to go check out that trailer. Pope Cerebrus the First says, "Hey Trinity, this is not." Cerebus, so this is not Cerebus. It is Cerebus. Checking in. Cerebus. Okay, Cerebus. Okay, and yeah, I think I was putting an R in it before. I think I was going I think I was putting Cerebrus in there before. Yeah, okay. Cerebus. I'll try to get that right. sometimes when I'm just reading, just going so fast, not, just reading, talking faster than I'm reading, I guess. Um, Netflix Lock and Key will be crazy. Yeah, hopefully it is. Like, I don't really watch a whole lot of TV shows. I'm just not into it. Obviously the MCU ones I will watch. The Netflix Marvel ones were just tough for me to swallow. Just I'm not really into that. To like a lot of the episodic kind of stuff going on there. Chaos and Comics says Sunday is football, but I'll get on for sure. Yeah, I get you. I stopped watching football a number of years ago, like a couple years before Colin Kaepernick started pissing people off. I stopped watching then because I'm telling you, I used to be heavily invested in it. Like my whole Sunday was football. I watched just about every single game. Had the Sunday ticket and everything. And one day I'm sitting there watching my game. Goes on. They had to go and do a review. Did the guy catch the ball? Was he in bounds? Yeah, it was obvious. Watching it live, he caught the ball. It was in bounds. He had control. What more do you need? And so I flipped the channel. I flipped the channel to another game on a review. I flipped the channel to another game on a review. Flipped to another one on a break, on a commercial break. Another one on like everything. Like there was actually no gameplay going on for like a span of like almost 10 minutes as I'm sitting there flipping through the channels. And it happened like I want to say like 4 weeks in a row. It was towards the end of the season too. It was just happened so much. I was like, you know what, I'm done. I called Netflix, or not Netflix, but DirecTV. After that, and I just told them just cancel it. And they're like, "Oh well, we'll do this." I'm like, "No, just cancel it. Just cancel it. I don't want it. I do not want it." And I just stopped watching. I'm like, you know what? I cannot get into this. It's not even a real game anymore. I know how the people who used to watch back in the 70s and 80s, and on up felt coming in through the 2000s and all that stuff. I know how they felt now. This isn't even a game. It's not even fun. It's not even a sport. You're not even letting them play. You're not even letting them hit each other. A guy runs into the end zone with the ball in his hand, and he gets tackled. There in the end zone. He made it in. You got to review that? Are you effing kidding me? No, I'm not paying for that crap anymore. I'm just not paying for it. I mean, you can still see some of my old Bear stuff there. You can see Sweetness. You can see Brian Urlacher right there. You can see, ooh, look at that. My little Chicago Bears car. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I was heavily into it, but at some point, I'm just like, you know what? Nope, nope, no more, no more. And I'm telling you, I literally watched every game, followed all the players, did all that stuff. I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, break it on down. I could have talked football with the best of them, but not no more, man. I'm just done with it. Just done with it. Iron True Skills says, aggressively relaxing. Do you like Doom 2099 or the current run? I haven't been reading the current run, I'm True Skills, but I have been enjoying your reviews of it. U.S. Dutch Kitty says I mainly read Power Rangers comics from Boom Studios has been doing really good. They've been pumping out some great books. It seems to be the only series that doesn't write from news headlines and actually want to make stories and explore Power Rangers lore. Yeah, nice. Yeah, certainly. And U.S. Dutch Kitty, I will say, go pick out some titles from Vault Comics. Go check them out. Like I said, you can download some of them free from their website. Some of the issue number ones, great stuff. They're depending on what you like, great stories they're doing over there. Also, check out Aftershock Comics. Aftershock Comics has been doing a really great job with their titles as well. A lot of them seem to be like horror stories related. So very good stuff. Some of my favorite publishers out there right now. Kids don't do my drugs. Pert Minded says, based on y'all reactions, looks like I'm in for a ride. Oh no, what am I? Oh, okay, yeah, from that series. Chaos and Comics says, aggressive. Right about that mid-season complaint sticking. Yeah, definitely. Chaos and Comics says, I loved Venom. Venom 2099 was a good one too. That was a good one too. I did like that story as well. Again, just most of them, they didn't tie anything. They didn't mean anything. They didn't go anywhere. It was all pointless. It was all for nothing. It was all for nothing. Ords Boards, thank you so much for being here. I hope you're having a good day. Yeah. Cerebus. Um, let's see. Chaos and Comics says, I'm addicted to football. I have no choice. It's cocaine to me. Yeah, I'm telling you, I used to be too. Like literally, I would go out on Sundays. Hi. I would go out on Sundays. I would get my morning ride in. I'd go out and get my 35, 40 mile bike ride in. Then I would get home and sit on my butt all day watching football. And after the first game, I would go out and I'd fire up my grill, sit there, cook chicken wings. I'm telling you, it was a ritual. Chicken wings every Sunday. It was chicken wing Sundays. Yeah, and I cook. Yeah, I grill my wings at home. Wingstop ain't got nothing on me. Glitter and duct tape. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're doing well today. Pope Cerebus the First. I saw it last night, and I have a whole short box of just Vault comics. So stoked. Yes, very Vault comics is very good. Fanjexter says Netflix is kind of killing it with fantasy shows lately. Yeah, that's what I heard. Um, um, Pavi says, and thank you so much for being here, Pavi. Says, I'd so pull Venom 2099 if it wasn't ongoing. Yeah, I would too. I thought it was a pretty interesting book. So yeah, now, gosh, what are you saying? Go get a cookie, and I'll be done here soon, son. Okay, now, one of the next thing I wanted to talk about is just some of the comic books that I am reading. Some of them I've actually still got to do some reviews on here. You can see that this whole little stack of this is just the little stack of comics. These are just from some from the past couple weeks. These are just a few of them that I have to still do reviews on. This is just a few of them. I'm telling you, I've got a whole lot more. And the indie ones I've kind of been doing in bulk. But some of the ones I've been reading I really like. Like a bunch of silliness. I actually liked it though. Is Peter Parker or Peter Porker Spider Ham. Just good stuff. But right here again, more Vault comics here that I've really enjoyed. Are aside from the plot, are these three right here. Money Shot, absolutely great book, hilarious. There's these these doctors who are crowdfunding their science projects by going out into space and having sex with aliens. Very funny stuff. Very. It's a good, well written book. A lot of this book isn't for everybody. A whole lot of people may not like this book, but I think it's a very good book. Just full of a lot of comedy and things like that. And there's probably certain things in there that certain elements about it people won't like, because one of the things in the book is this doctor who wants to start this whole thing. Basically, all says that she wants to go out and do this crowdfunding by having sex with aliens, but to do that, they've all got to have sex with each other, and there are men and women in on this panel of doctors, and they all have to have sex with each other, and they do that. So yes, you have women having sex with women, you have men having sex with men, and vice versa, and just all that stuff. So again, some people might not like it. I think it's absolute hilarity. I don't care. Hey, however, whatever people's orientation is, whatever floats your boat, that's all good. Hey, you do you, man. But I think Money Shot's absolutely hilarious. Another one I've been reading is right here, Cult Classics, the Creature feature. This one is an excellent book. Definitely one that might not be for everybody, but I think it's a pretty good little horror story taking place. It seems like maybe back in maybe the early '80s or so. It might be in the '70s, but a very very good book. The art in here is it's kind of gritty, helps tell the story. Again, another one on Vault Comics. Guy who is writing that? Elliot Rawl, I believe. Very very good story, and I do like how the art matches the story in there as well. Just very very good stuff. Another one. I need to do another review on this one because I think I reviewed issue number 1, but that's Black Stars Above, issue number 2. I like this book. It's being written by Lonnie Nadler, which actually did one of the. He actually wrote, I think it was Punisher 2099, along with Zach Thompson. Yeah, written by Lonnie Nadler, illustrated by Jenna Cha, colored by Brad Simpson, lettered by Hassan Atsmani El. Very good stuff, but and here I'll go ahead and show you some of that in here, some of the art and things in this book. This book is really good, and sometimes the art tells the story, and sometimes it's sometimes we get some of the dialogue in here that's written like it's come from a journal. I like this book. The thing about this book is it's not for. I'll say it's probably not for everybody neither, because it reads like a novel. Like it reads like you're actually reading a novel, and it's got the art in there. Very good stuff about this young lady, Eulalie. who is going to trying to deliver this package that she got from a stranger that gave her some money, gave her a lot of money to take this package through the woods that are north of where she lives at into this other town. And it seems like this is something that goes on with people, and she has to take this package to this other town. Well, she ends up getting lost in the woods, and the same thing happened to her grandfather as well. Just some very supernatural things going on in this book. But the way that it's going, it's a really slow burn of a comic book, and I normally wouldn't like that, but the story is very interesting of what's going on here. And every issue comes out like it's like I said, it's not even like super wordy or anything, but it's like I get really invested in it, and it takes me a while to read. The flow of it isn't very fast at all, but it's a very great book. Black Stars Above. Another one I have to do some reviews on is Mountain Head. Mountain Head issue number 3. I've I've enjoyed Mountain Head. Very great book here. This issue number 3 really ramps up some of the horrific things going on in here. Up until this issue, it's just kind of been kind of eerie. Some of the things going on, you're kind of like, what's going on here? This book right here really ramps up a lot of those things in this book. Mountain Head has been good. I really like Mountain Head. The art in it is very I don't know how to explain the art in it, but it's very unique. It's very weird. And that's something that I like about it. Blade Runner 2019, another one on Titan Comics. I've really been enjoying. I got this Sid Mead variant. I've been reading. I've been not collecting, I guess, but picking up the Sid Mead variants of this. And in case you guys don't know, Sid Mead, who did this is original concept artwork for the Blade Runner movie. Sid Mead recently passed away. I want to say maybe about a week and a half ago or so. He recently passed away. So if you can find these in your local comic book shop, they're really great titles, and they're using concept art from the original Blade Runner movie that came out back in, was it 1982? Another good series I've really been liking is Vampire State Building. This one's on a Blaze Comics, written by the same guy who was doing The Walking Dead. Oh, it says right there, from the artist. Oh, I guess it was just the artist. I thought it was the writer, but yeah, of The Walking Dead. Very good series. I'm not normally like into a whole lot of the vampire stuff, zombies and all that. I'm not normally into that. I read issue number 1 of this. I went to review it. Was lent a copy from my local comic book shop, and I read it. I'm like, holy crap, I've got to read this. And I think this one is only going to be a 4-issue miniseries, or at least the first story arc is only going to be 4 issues, and then maybe they're going to do more after that. But again, I thought Vampire State Building was another very good, very good book as well. So I put that one on my pull list. Another one right here, Folklords. Being done by Boom Studios. Boom Studios has been doing a very good job putting out great books. They do, like US Dutch Kitty said, they've been doing Power Rangers. They've been doing like the Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and some of those different books out there. I think, what is it, Angel, and some of the stuff like that. But Folklords is a very good book. One I think you guys should check out. It's like a medieval like fantasy tale, but this kid is getting these visions of people from current times. He's there in like these medieval times wearing, well, you can see right there, he's wearing like suits and things like that he designed himself, and really cool book, And this second issue towards the end, man, like some of the action really kind of picked up. I'm like, ooh, like it's getting really like these first 2 issues were really good, but here about midway through, they get into some confrontation here. Really great stuff. I'm really liking this book. I know Perry is here. He's in the chat there. I know Perry has really been loving this series as well. Very good stuff here. Very good stuff. Another one I've been reading here is Once and Future. This one's issue number 5. I've liked Once and Future. This is now an ongoing series, and I've liked it. Excellently written by Kieran Gillen. Dan Moore has been doing the art, and I've got to tell you, somebody I don't hear a whole lot of people giving her credit, but Tamara Bonneville has been absolutely killing it with the colors on this book. I love this book. Like I said, Tamara Bonneville's coloring in this book. This book, I think, would be a lesser book without her expertise and use of colors on this title. Excellent book. Now, I think it's kind of been a roller coaster ride. Like the first couple issues were really good, and then like I think it was like maybe issue number 3 and 4 were kind of like, yeah, they were okay, and then issue number 5 kind of picked back up a little bit and ramped it back up a little bit. But I've really been enjoying this as well. Definitely been enjoying that. But yeah, that's some of the comic books I've been reading. Some of the ones I've still got to do some reviews for you guys on here on the channel. And yeah, just some really great books. Now, the other thing I did want to, and I've been talking about them. The other thing I wanted to talk about today was my favorite publisher that is out there publishing comic books right now. And like I said, I already touched on it, but that was the other thing I put there in the description is my favorite indie publisher right now. My favorite small press publisher is Vault Comics. Go check out their website. They have some comic books on there you can download for free to read. They've been around since 2016. They're a small family-owned company publishing creator-owned stories, and they're basically letting them tell their own stories and things, and they're doing a really good job with all of the titles that I have read out of there. I haven't read a bad title out of Vault Comics yet. I'm sure and I've actually been thinking about starting the Vault Comics Challenge. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should make a video called the Vault Comics Challenge, and the challenge is does Vault have an actual bad book? I know Perry had said that he thought Test wasn't that great, but okay, not being that great, does that make it a bad comic book? Maybe it's just something that you didn't particularly like, you know what I mean? But is it still a good book? You know what I mean? And that's my challenge is that's the Vault challenge, I guess, if you will. That's what it'll be is do they have a bad title that they have put out? And I mean just actually bad, not one that you just didn't like, but an actual bad title. Very good stuff. I've been following a lot of their creators on Twitter. Been following like Adrian Wassel, Damian Wassel, I think even Damian Wassel Sr. Been following them on Twitter. Even a lot of the writers like Eli Rawl, Michael Morecki, Jordan Boyd. Let's see who else. Who else is there out there that's been writing some of their books? Tim Daniel. I've been following a lot of their writers there on Twitter and stuff like the politics stuff. A lot of people post about this stuff. I don't care about people's personal politics, man. But I've been following a lot of them, and that's where I got this advanced copy of the plot issue number 4 I got over the weekend from Michael Morisi, who had he's posted a couple times like, hey, anybody want early copies to review or whatnot, and I was like, oh hey, sure, I'm all on board. I actually want to see if I can get a hold of actually get a hold of Vault Comics. See if I can bring the Adrian or Damian Wassel here onto the show and do an interview with them or something. I've seen somebody out there else did an interview with them as well. I'd like to just talk to them and see how they're doing it, like how they've managed to start this small publishing company just in the past few years, built up and got so many great titles out there and just been pumping out great books that I think you all should read. Again, that's Vault Comics. Go check them out at I think it's just at vault.com. You should definitely make sure that you go check them out. Very good books that they've been putting out. Let's see. Finjecture says, oh, okay, I read that one. Let's see. US Dutch Kitty says, I'll definitely check them out. I just, I trust your taste in comics and comic knowledge. I won't admit to be too knowledgeable about comic books, but yeah, I've been enjoying a lot of these. Chaos and Comics says, can't remember if I reviewed Peter Porker. Oh, I can't remember if you did either. I think you did. I want to say that you did. I thought I seen that review drop. Wookiee Supremacy. Thank you so much for being here. That's what he said. That he knows. He knows. Aggressively Relaxing says, I really like the 2099 stuff, but I'm super interested in mapping out Marvel Comics timeline and how time works now after Hickman's X-Men so I can make fun of it. Do that, Aggressively Relaxing. Do that. I want to see that. I so want to see that. Coffee Breath, thank you so much for being here, and hey, I've got some coffee breath right now as well. Speaking of which, right now I'm having a bulletproof coffee because I'm getting all my health stuff back on track. So I've been getting back into ketosis. Going to go hardcore into ketosis and following the ketogenic diet for the next 90 days. Now, there's a whole lot of mixed opinions and stuff out there about the ketogenic diet. People saying it's not healthy and all that stuff. Absolutely bullcrap. Go if you've seen what I eat in a day when I'm doing this diet, you would see there's absolutely you have no arguments to stand on, no legs to stand on if you want to tell me that doing keto isn't healthy. Because basically what I do is I'll have the coffee. I'll have a bulletproof coffee here in the morning. But basically what I eat is salad. I have this big old huge salad that I have once a day. Put some chicken on there, a little bit of bacon, and stuff like that. There's absolutely no like, because I remember there was somebody on Facebook. Everybody's experts on the internet. But somebody was like on my Facebook telling me like, oh, that diet's so bad for you. You shouldn't be eating that way and this and that, all this and that, blah 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 blah. And I just posted a picture of my salad that I eat. It's a big old huge salad that's got all the fixings. I'm telling you, it's got like cucumbers, it's got peppers on there, bell peppers. I put jalapenos on it sometimes. Avocados, eggs, cucumbers, just all this. Just it's just a huge salad, right? And I top it with some chicken, top it with a little bit of bacon, and just all those kinds of things. And I told him, okay, tell me how this is unhealthy. Tell me how this is unhealthy. You saying I should go eat a cheeseburger? That's healthy for me. That's good for me. You know what I mean? And absolutely everybody that I give this argument to, I drop them a photo of the salad that I toss every day. Ha ha! See what I did there? Of this salad that I eat every day. Not one person can say anything, and I'm just like, yeah. Tell me how this is unhealthy. Tell me how eating this big huge salad is unhealthy, please. I'll hear your argument out. And I'm not saying I'm an expert or anything, but tell me how eating this big salad is unhealthy for me, please, please, please. um, Pope Cerebus the First says slow burn is a great way to put it on Black Stars Above. Mountain Head was a top 5 read. Yeah, Mountain Head's been good, and I think they skipped like a month or two, and then that issue 3 finally came out. Maybe it was just 1 month and it came out later, but yeah, it's been a good one. But yeah, Black Stars Above is really good. I didn't think I was gonna like it when I first read it, but I read it and I'm like, man, I like this. I like this book. I like it. Perry Comics says, I enjoy Mountain Head too. He says, haha. I'm not even going to guess what you're talking about there, Perry. Aggressively Relaxing says, Boom's Power Rangers is so much better than it has any right to be, and acts as a great supplemental material to the original show. I could talk for a half hour about the amazing way they fleshed out Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. You know what, you guys, if you guys like Power Rangers, another one of my friends that I follow here on YouTube that you should go check out is Joe's Geek Show. You should definitely go check out Joe's Geek Show. He loves that Power Ranger series. He has a very small pull list right now, and that's one of the ones that he constantly pulls every single time. And he is always talking about the Power Rangers. He loves Power Rangers. Aggressively Relaxing says, me and the other 4 people reading Moon Girl know that Bonneville is the truth. She's great, man. I'm telling you. I think some of my favorite colorists are Tamara Bonneville, and the other one is Rochelle Rosenberg. I like their work. They're really great work. And ever since I seen Bonneville doing Once and Future, I'm like, man, this lady knows her color palette. She knows how to use those damn colors. She is freaking great at it. Great at it. Shame what they did with that Fearless series. That's one of those ones where I wanted to go your boy Zach on. I want to just take it and just rip it apart. And if there's anybody out there who wants to read the Fearless series, let me know. Get a hold of me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and I'll happily send you out some copies to read and check out. And guys, make sure you go follow me on Facebook at Second Street Marvel, because that's where my comic book pull list will be dropping here later today. And that's where I'll be announcing some giveaways there as well. So make sure you go follow me on Facebook and watch that video over there. Of course, there are other ways that I've talked about. You can still always watch my comic book pull list here on YouTube. Pope Cerebus says, Vault, Aftershock, Boom, Ahoy, and Dark Horse, dang, also good. Yeah, they have been. Dark Horse has been doing some good books as well. I know one of the ones that I've been reading is Everything over there on Dark Horse Comics. Really great book. It's a retail horror story being written by Christopher Cantwell, the same writer who is doing the Doctor Doom series right now. Very good book. I love that one. And Aftershock and Vault, yeah, they're 2 of my favorites. I haven't read anything on Ahoy books, on Ahoy comics, but I've heard a lot about them. Perry Comics says, yeah, still whack book. Haha. Folklords is awesome. Yeah, Folklords is great. I've really enjoyed it. Pope Cerebus. Oh, you're talking about Test. Test was just quirky. The art and story was solid, but it may have not been for everyone. Yeah, and I could certainly see that. I certainly see that. Aggressively says, people who have never tried to write and draw a comic book will be happy to explain anything is bad, including Vault. Yeah, that's true. Absolutely true. Absolutely true, and that's the thing is that's why when I criticize something, I like to be I don't like to be just like beat it up because I know people work hard on them, but two I know that sometimes the book's just not for me. But there are some things that out there are just not good books. That Fearless series, case in point, absolute garbage. I wouldn't read it. Full of a lot of toxic dialogue, toxic situations. It's bad, 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 bad stuff. It's really aimed towards one crowd of people. Okay, so it really only aimed towards one crowd of people. It was just bad. It was just bad, and apparently I'm part of that crowd because I bought every single damn issue. Isn't that bad to admit? But hey, at the same time, I actually like buying comic books that are bad like that I don't like because I want to me it makes me work harder in having to go review them and express why I don't like them because when it's something I like it's easy like oh hey I like this look at this the art the story the colors oh this is it's easy to review something you like you know what I mean but I think some people need to stretch out there. Of course, I get a lot of people don't want to go out and buy books that they don't want to read. It's an absolutely ridiculous thought. But I want to review books like that because it makes me work harder in having to criticize what's going on in some of those things. Coffee Breath says, my wife's a nurse and swears by keto. Yeah, I mean, if it's done right, certainly. And people talk about dirty keto and all these things. Like, look, okay, I see people talk, like, if you can't, I see people like, they're looking to make these keto snacks and all this stuff. Like, look, if you can't let go of your chocolate chip cookies, you can't let go of all this bad food, you can't keep away from fast food, you probably shouldn't be doing it. Just eat healthy. Just eat as healthy as you can. You probably shouldn't be doing keto if you can't stick to the lifestyle, because that's really what it's more. That's what it is more than anything. Like you have to have that willpower to cut out all those carbs and stuff like that. You have to have that willpower. And I see people out there doing that, like I see people out there saying like, how many carbs can you do when you're on keto? How many carbs can you have a day? And they're like, because I put croutons on my salad. I want to do this and that. It's like, and it's hard to say that you're doing it wrong, but you're doing it wrong. You shouldn't be doing that if you're doing keto. Just cut it out. Just cut it out. Yeah. But I'm True Skill says, take it easy, Trinity. I'm gonna go start my workout journey. Well, enjoy your workout and just start slow, man. Remember, if you're lifting weights, don't forget about that delayed on muscle, those DOMS, the delayed onset muscle soreness. You don't have to go out there and be He-Man. Just start slow, man. Start slow. Because if you work out today and you can't work out the next day, you hurt yourself. You're more injured than anything, and and that's not good. It's more about consistency than it is anything. Wookiee Supremacy says cheesecake and cotton candy diet for the win. Yeah. Pope Cerebus says slap the pizza out of their hand. Aggressively relaxing says, "You guys remember the Atkins diet? The guy who invented it, Dr. Atkins, fell down, hit his head, and died. If he had been fat still, it would have been, it would have been funny. Weight loss kills. Yeah, and for me, like I'm gonna do keto hardcore for 90 days to lose the weight to drop off the weight, but then after that what I do after that is I guess like carb cycling is what they call it. But what I do is when I because I'm a cyclist, so when I go out to do rides and I want to do a harder ride and go out there and push hard, I have carbs before I go ride, and it really helps. I'm telling you, when I'm in full ketosis and then I add like maybe a little bowl of oatmeal before a ride, I'm telling you, dude, it is like, dude, it's man, I'm telling you, like it gives me energy. It's like whoa, like your body like responds to it, dude. A couple of years ago when I first started doing it, I was doing all my bike rides, and I was doing all my bike rides being full keto and everything, staying in ketosis, not doing the carbs or anything. But then once my training started ramping up, I started adding in a little bowl of oatmeal before some of the harder rides when I was going out with the group. Oh my god, I'm telling you, like, yeah, it was, yeah, hashtag doping. You know what I'm saying? um, Pope Cerebus says, wrong Earth, hashtag danger, Snifter of Terror, Planet of Nerds. Okay, I'm guessing these are some titles. Okay, all Ahoy titles. Yeah, I'll maybe check those out. Lou says, good day, Second Street Marvel. Hope you're having a good day as well, Lou. Thank you so much for being here. Wookie Supremacy says, I used to love the old Nerkish comic book roasts. I don't think I've ever seen those. Is that a channel here on YouTube, Nerkish? I'll have to check that out. Wookie Supremacy says, Kermit is live with Ben. I'll be right back. All right, no problem. Well, actually, I'm getting ready to close up shop for the day. Thank you all so much for being here on this morning chat talking about comic books. Make sure that you go check out Discovery Bay Comics. His live stream should be starting every day. If you guys aren't subscribed to him and you like comic books or you're part of the comic book community, you should go reach out to JB over at Discovery Bay Comics. Pretty much, he goes out there and promotes other comic book YouTubers, and his show should be starting at 9 o'clock. If it's not started already, it should be starting here shortly. But that's all I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Second Street Marvel. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed, click the little bell and all that good stuff. Share it with your friends, give it a thumbs up, give it a thumbs down. It's all good. I do not take it personal. But most of all, get out and support your local comic book shop. Enjoy some reading, and we'll see you all in the next video. Later.